I want to move on to our next story, which is talking about a really significant bit of news that happened in Australia this past week, where a rugby player literally said, "Hey, man, I'm tired of these people getting all up in our neighborhoods and making it dangerous for no reason," and chased down a knife wielding stabber. Man, let's go to the news on Australia 9 News about what happened in this situation.
Allegedly armed, two teams approach a parked ute with two men inside. One opens the door.
She actually saw a gentleman holding quite a large, what looked like a kitchen knife.
What happens next? An alleged stabbing attack. One victim stabbed in the stomach, the other slash wounds to his wrist and thigh, before both of the attackers flee with a bag of cannabis allegedly stolen from inside the ute. A Good Samaritan saw it all unfold and decided to give chase.
Got out of my vehicle and I approached him and I said, I saw you had a knife and I've also got cameras at the front of my house, so you should stop. I'm going to call the police.
The teen couldn't outrun the former Western Force rugby player.
While we were running, I said to him, "Madam, if you want to keep running, I can run quite far. So I suggest you just stop and wait for the police."
Police arriving shortly after, arresting one of the boys along Jackson Avenue, the other found hiding in a bush. As the injured men were treated along Francis Avenue, they were rushed to hospital where they remain in a stable condition. One of the 16-year-olds also injured.
I encouraged him to sit down and I'm going to get him some help. So the young, he would look like a teenager, sat down and eventually I made him quite calm and he sat down and my wife and I called the police and an ambulance.
He was treated at PCH and released into police.
So, yeah, okay. So, as you guys can see, what a story. What a story. Also, shout out to USA Rugby League and Union Fan, the other ref, Cisco Lopez. I like I said, my boy from Florida, sometimes just brain fart because multiple things happening at the same time. So shout out to, thank you very much. But yeah, man, this story really caught my attention because I think it's always funny. This is essentially Brynard Stander, who is a former rugby player, used to play for the Western Force, who I used to think was maybe the third worst team in rugby in the world from professional rugby, but they've really shown out really recently. But I love this story of the rugby guy chasing down the attackers, and it felt mild, even though it was like, yo, a kid got stabbed, and then also they were kids themselves. But from what I took from the story, it was almost like it's what you always hear from, like, what would you do if you're in a bar as a rugby player and somebody, you know, steps in? Like, it's unusual, but it's legit. And he went in, and I think the funniest part about that was the story of him, like, saying, look, you guys can keep running. I can keep doing this all day. Felt very Captain America-ish, you know? I thought this was just a great story to talk about. Like, what would you do if it's a rugby player? Like, we got all these skills. We're running, you know, we tackling, you know, our chase down ability. Hey, when it comes down to it, now, I think it was also very lucky, and I definitely wouldn't recommend this on a regular basis. Like, if a crime happens, you know, call the police, which thankfully he did. But call the police because, you know, you don't want to catch the end. You want to be a victim in the process of trying to be a hero. But if you can be a hero, yo, like that skill, boom, knocking them down, bop, get that breakdown. And also show, like, hey, man, this conditioning. I had to do Bronco drills for all this running. Y'all out here trying to kill people for no reason, breaking into cars, trying to be all stupid about it with kitchen knives. Like, yo, this is dumb. You're dumb. But, you know, I think it's the calmness also that he had, which also goes along with, like, yo, what it means whenever you know you have the capability. Like, when you have the capability to not give a damn about anybody's physical presence. Like, the way that he says, like, I approached him and I said, I saw you had a knife. And I also got cameras at the front of my house, so you should stop. I'm going to call the police. Like, and then he said, while we were running, I said to him, mate, if you want to keep running, I can run quite far. So I suggest you just stop and wait for the police. Like, yo, it's so gangster for no reason. Yo. It's just gangster for no reason. And I just love it. Look, this is what we want. This is what we do. Whenever we go like, hey man, rugby play, this is the not only is the camaraderie sport, like this is one of the hardest sports to be able to play. This is one of the dopest sports. Like this is what we want. This is what we want. Where it's like, yo, if I'm gonna be a hero, I'm casually just gonna be a hero. I'm just gonna casually be a hero. But yo, shout out to him. Shout out to Brynard Stander for being able to. I said Brynard Stander. Shout out to Brynard Stander for being the hero in this one and casually saving 2 victims that got stabbed in the belly. And quick background on him: he played over 20 times for the Sharks in the Currie Cup in 2012 and 2013. Went to Australia in 2014 to play in the Western Force and played in over 70 Super Rugby games, obviously for basically a crappy team, but decided to hang up his boots in 2022, his cleats in 2022. And, hey, man, he's living life, man. Shout out to them.
They're the wheat flour that you can eat. My name is GiftTime in Baylor. I'm here with Health Enhanced Foods. And I want to tell you about one of our best and most beloved products, our sweet white wheat baking mix. Now, this is the baking mix for those who are not really looking for something that's gluten-free, but they are looking for something that they can eat that is going to still be healthy and is not going to be dangerous. White flour is typically a very processed, incredibly bleached flour, and it's not good for you. It's incredibly cheap for a reason. Our sweet white wheat bread mix is whole grain, dairy-free, high in dietary fiber, free of additives, and is absolutely unprocessed and unrefined. With our sweet white wheat bread mix, you can feel like you're getting all the same rewards that you would get from poor white bread, but with all the nutritional value. You're able to still make your bread loaves or your cakes, your flat bread or your cookies, but you don't have to feel like you are going to be robbing yourself of good carbohydrates. You can get the sweet white wheat bread mix from healthenhancedfoods.com. Absolutely go impress your friends and family with the greatest bread while not making them feel like they have to be gluten-free at the same time. No dangers, full body pleasures. Go ahead and get yours today. Let's go.